We have her.
I think Inez is also on,
Okay.
just not without, I'm guessing without a video, and Julia, no video.
Okay.
Yes, I'm just trying to put it on. I don't know why it's not working. It's just
Okay. Well, let's get started then. So first thing on the agenda, of course, is minutes. Does anyone have any changes, corrections, anything to say about the minutes?
Hi, Glenn.
We're good?
Oh,
I think she's made.
we're in the garage. Wow.
Okay, so we're gonna move on then to the next item, the first agenda item, which is the Public Art Master Plan Addendum. And so who's discussing that?
I just put that on the agenda, as we continue to welcome new members. I think we should just put the addendum into the packet so that everyone can kind of stay on track with the adopted goals of the committee and the council. So I don't have any discussion items, but if anybody wants to refer to anything in the addendum, just let me know.
Okay. Anyone?
Do you want me to talk now, Abby?
If you had anything you wanted to say. you
Okay,
could do
with
it
the
on this.
addendum?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll talk first, which is slightly not related to the addendum. But I am not renewing on the arts committee, so my last month will be like, what, April? May?
Yeah, April, I think.
Yeah. So I just want to say before I left, I had a thought last meeting when the airport project came up that I kind of feel like the arts committee needs like a vetting process or like a checklist that you go through to like decide what projects get accepted and which ones don't. Because there's just so much that we want to get done, but we're all volunteers. And so everyone can just kind of feel like a little like, I don't know, run ragged, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? I don't know. So I wanted to just say like, one of the things, like if you guys come up with a checklist or however this works, like I would make sure that it would follow the goals and objectives that are in the master plan. And then just to remember that like as a committee, we aren't event planners. Like our goal is to like bring projects to the common council. So it's not our job to even put on the art walk, but that's like above and beyond. I mean, it's awesome and I don't think you should stop. But I'm just saying, like, that is not normal. So, like, when we start getting more and more requests, I just think there needs to be some sort of checklist because, like, especially if a project doesn't have funding, I'm not really sure that that's a project that we can realistically tackle. We've already had trouble finding funding. And then, you know, like we have the 0.5% for arts project that we need to keep going. And that we actually have funding for, but then we have problems finding a place to put it. So it's just like, I just want you guys to not overcommit yourselves. Like, figure out what your goals are and like, just stick to those. Yes. Like maybe 4 or 5 projects a year, which I think is what we have right now. Because if you count the youth center and
Add on to this, Meg, I want to say something here too, because we are really for projects that come up like the airport as an example, since we're talking about that, we really are supposed to be advisory on something like that. If a business, if a someone, a private entity wants to put in a sculpture or some piece of art, we're really just advisory on that. I don't think that we should be forming a working group for something like that, because as Meg said, we've got our own projects to focus on. You've got the 0.5% for art project that is every year. And then you've got, we've got capital budget project if we choose to do one. And the art walk was going on when I came onto the committee. It kind of started, it was like at risk of becoming defunct right before the pandemic completely. And so, the things that we have added are the youth center art projects and then kind of expanding Art Walk and then a few other things that we do. But I would agree with Meg that we really should keep focus and bear in mind that we are advisory. If someone wants to partner with us, then that's a different story. Like the Love Your Neighbor mural is a great example of a partnership that we had. So yes, I agree with focus, and Art Walk is a really big event and I need like all hands on deck helping with that, or as many people as we can, because it's really getting a lot bigger. And we are in fact even capping the number of artists this year on that, just to be on the safe side. So, anyway, that's what I want to say about that. Meg, proceed if you want to add more.
I don't know if I had anything else. I probably should have prepared something before I came. I'm just like randomly talking. But yeah, I guess that would just be my 2 cents, is like to come up with some sort of process. So when, because I'm not saying to not accept any new projects. There's some really cool things, just like have a list of what it has to have, you know. And then if it doesn't meet the list, then you don't take it on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jolene has her hand up.
Oh, I mean, when you're done, whenever you're done, Meg.
Go ahead, Jolene.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Okay, well, as long as we're on this topic, I will chime in as well.
Wait, should we just say that we're on number 9 and we're moving it up?
Oh, what is
Um,
number 9? Sorry.
We were kind of under the master plan agenda item, which,
Oh,
okay, you mean the municipal airport
Okay.
project, but to that,
no,
okay.
I think we should wait, and I think we should move through our other things.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to what Meg said about terms. I also did not renew this year or for the next 2 years, so April will be my last month as well. And I just echo her thoughts because I think it's awesome what we've all done, and I think it's really tempting to become like a fully functioning event, committee because we're so good at it. But yeah, you just, I guess I'll say that like it is hard to maintain along with everything else that happens. So in a person's day. So that's all. But anyway, I just wanted to say that I'll miss this very, very much. But I'll still be around for Art Walk. I wouldn't leave ya.
Oh,
So to circle back to the master plan, if you guys do want to come up with like some sort of a checklist vetting process, I'm happy to edit that for you guys and put it in the master plan, or have like a separate document that you can always refer to.
That
But
would be helpful.
We would have to like come up with the criteria,
Yeah.
like together. So
let's put that on our agenda for next week, next month, and let's kind of think about that and then come back and talk about it next month.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, anything else on master plan? Anything else on resignations? Anybody else? Okay, all right, so let's move on then to Art Walk, which is our next topic. I will say Art Walk is rolling right along. We are well into the planning process, soliciting donations, thinking about Bubbles and Beats party. And we are, we have, I think, Abby with the high school Inspiring Hope and Madison Art Guild, I think we have what, 33 or 35 spots.
And we also have some extra applications that have come in. Around 5-ish additional applications that have come in that are ready to be reviewed.
Okay, so we have more like 40 now.
Yeah.
So this is why Abby and I, when we were discussing this the other day, thought it might be prudent to cap it at 65 so that it doesn't get out of control. We had 56 last year, and so I think that incremental growth is better than it growing really big one year and then we like lose it. Something happens and we lose control. So we have had lots of interest in Art Walk this year, and so we're very excited. I want to remind you all too that there are save the date postcards that Abby has, or Katie, someone has the save the date postcards there. So if you could please take some of those. And if you are at an event, coffee shop, cafe, wherever, someplace, grocery store that has a bulletin board, just stick a few of them there. Ask if you can stick some in gallery, wherever. So we also have a digital copy of that. I would also say that Jolene has made a few updates to the website or the web page, and then I am going to the one thing that we are kind of unclear about is, Beth, what's going on with social media?
I'm gonna be completely honest, guys. I've been crazy busy and have not been on top of it. So, I was going to send the initial email of this is the call for artists, this is the URL thing to just kind of get the baseline of like, this is, am I formatting this right? Do you like, is this how I should be submitting it? And then as soon as we've got more of our events kind of like finalized for the year, or like I can get some information of like what's going on at the youth center, that sort of thing, I would like to be able to send it in like large chunk emails to him as opposed to like, here's a thing, here's a thing. I would like to kind of group it in like a, here's the next 6 months of posts, please.
Whoa, that'd be great.
So I'm thinking we'll have better luck there because then he can just schedule stuff, but I'm still kind of pulling together a little bit of the details. I know I've got the pop-up art stuff done, and I have all of the photo picture thingies. Sorry, my brain for Art Walk, but I wasn't sure if anybody else was going to want to add in information about like the youth scholarship program, about the upcoming installation stuff, like any of that sort of things that I should know about and try to kind of get on my radar. I'm hoping to properly kind of have a handle on what we're doing this year, maybe by the end of March. But yeah, so watch for emails from me once my life calms down ever so slightly.
Okay, so can we get the call for artists up as soon as possible and the save the date? Can we get those up as soon as possible? Because those need to go pretty soon because as I said, we're capping it. So we've only got 25 spots left.
Okay.
And then what I was telling Abby that I can create some social media posts for you because that's what I do at work. So if you want me to create some posts, we can work together on that.
Yeah, sure.
And then Meg has posts from previous years. Meg, could you update all the Art Walk posts with the current information and send those to Beth?
Yep, I already wrote that down.
Perfect.
And then we also post the artist information before Art Walk on our social media. And so we'll have the artists coming in, and I don't know how often those get posted. Abby, how often did we post last year? Like once a week or every day or?
Well, as we got closer to the event, it was pretty much every day just to get through them all. But we already have, let's see how many. I think we already have about, it looks like we have about 5 that have already been submitted. So I mean, I could get started on those. I won't do those. I don't think those will go through Brent.
Okay. So do you want the social media stuff sent to you for Art Walk, or what do you want?
If it's going to be posted in the Art Walk event, then it should come to me. But if it's posted on the main city social media site, then it should go to Brent.
And do we have an event already up for this year?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think we should do then? Should we post them to the event page? Where do you think more people would be likely to see it there, or that are interested in Art Walk, or do you think we should post it on the city's main page?
I think we should post it on the city's main page and link the event because the event itself only has 25 responses so far because it hasn't been posted to the main page yet.
Okay, then let's do that.
Can I use that event stuff when I send the email of like, here's our save the date? Can it also include this is the Facebook event?
Yes, for
Okay.
sure. We should do that. That'd be great. Then he can, yeah, then we'll start driving more people to say that they're interested or attending. So they'll get all the
Updates.
information. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it with Art Walk. We have just, like I said, been kind of going through the planning process, and we will be meeting again soon. And Sign Up Genius, that's the last thing I really want to talk about. I will have that hopefully live this weekend, and then I will be sending that link out to all of you. And it will be going in the press release that's going out to the media about call for artists and just general Art Walk stuff. And then we're also getting ready to send out sponsor letters to potential sponsors. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. I'm very happy with how things are going so far, knock on wood. And I hope that we have perfect weather again this year for our event. Let's all cross our fingers for that.
Michelle. I can't see where she. Michelle,
Yeah,
did you post this on like the event listing pages already, like Isthmus and like Travel Wisconsin and all
I
that?
have not.
Because that's a good one too, I think, because people,
I haven't.
especially Isthmus, they go there to kind of plan their events. And it's
Can-
free.
Cap Times has one too, and I think Wart might have one as well. I couldn't get Warts to work for me last year, I don't think.
CLC is in the council chambers.
Anyway, yes, we should work on that as well. I have not done any of that stuff yet.
Can I ask a question about the kids' corner
Sure.
area? Does anybody know any kid-friendly event people that we are planning? I know you said you have a face painter, right, Michelle?
And Balloon Twister, Radiant Smiles, who was there last year, they have balloon twisters as well, so.
Oh, great.
Yes, so we have that planned. And then the Historical Society is gonna be doing something again this year. But Ruth wasn't sure. I talked to her yesterday. And we are moving over by the food trucks. There's a composting site now in that parking lot, as I mentioned in my email to you guys earlier. And so I think that'll be better. It's shady over there and there's more action over there too. And then the other big thing that's changing is the structure of our silent auctions. And some of you know about that. Rather than having it in a tent like we did last year and the year before, we will be having the items in the artist's booth, and then they'll have like a bid sheet in their booth and they'll display it there. And so that's gonna alleviate a lot of volunteer hours and stress. And so we're excited to like making a couple of shifts. The other thing that we're changing is we're not going to be delivering lunches to the artists this year. Instead, they'll get $20 worth of vouchers for the food trucks. And so they can buy whatever they want with that. Each booth will get $20. If they have a double booth, they'll get 40. So they can purchase their own lunch, which means that I'm gonna need more volunteers during the lunch hour period to sit in artist booths and help them out. So those are the changes. Any other questions? Does anybody have any questions about?
Michelle mentioned that you've got extra food trucks.
Oh, yes, we have 8 food trucks this year, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to accommodate everyone with electricity because Aaron also has got the Potter coming back as a demonstrator. So Abby, is there a way that we can maybe, is there some kind of like a power strip or something we could use to give us some more electricity?
I would think so. Yeah, we just have to make sure that any extra cords are covered by the cord ramps, but we purchased quite a few of those last year, so I think we should be covered.
Yeah, I think we're covered with those and we can always get a few more if we find that we need them. So the food trucks, I'll run it down for you. We have Just Veggies. We have Thailand in a Truck again. Thailand in a Truck has a barbecue food truck now as well, so they're bringing that food truck. And then Jakarta will have an Indonesian food booth, and they will also have the pulled chicken and pulled pork that they had last year. Lily's Sweet Treats will be back, Sabar Reggio will be back, and Tony from the Mango Man will be back. So 8 altogether. And I hope that all works out. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to fit them all into that little space. But we'll do it. We'll get it done. Okay. Other questions about Art Walk or any suggestions, anything, any ideas?
Just thinking we might want to remember to get a tent for our
Oh,
walk.
thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, we probably need more than one tent, Abby. We need one for information. We need one for Kids Corner. And so,
Preferably with sides.
So
yeah,
Shade.
and
2
wait.
10x10s with sides and weights.
Yeah, the weights
Yeah.
are usually coming with them now.
Okay.
But if they do not, then we need to make sure that we have them. We also need to have we need to remind the artists to bring weights with them for their booths.
Yeah,
when-
not putting stuff out.
Okay.
And then, Abby and I also discussed that the skate park will not have a porta potty. It doesn't have a porta potty there anymore, so we're gonna have to get some porta potties this year, so that will be an additional expense for us. We did them one year, didn't really need them. Then we've gotten bigger, people were using that one, and so now we're gonna have to get our own. Is that all? Because I keep thinking of other art walk things.
You've got all the music booked.
The music is mostly booked. I could do one more slot and, slightly shorten people's sets if we wanted to. And I'm looking at Madison Music Foundry to fill that space. So I have not called them yet. I have not called the porta potty place yet. I've been really busy at work this week, so I haven't made much progress since we had our meeting on Friday. But I'm working on it.
I feel like we're in better shape than we have been in the past.
Yes,
Sounds
me too.
Now that the template is easier to just plug it in.
We've worked out some of the problems in the first couple of years, I feel like, so, and which is good, because since we're growing, I think new things will arise, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that we've got it figured out to this point, hopefully.
Thing I think we need to talk about is we might need to buy 65 little clipboards for the silent auction. But or find a solution.
Let me think about that.
Okay.
It would probably be cheaper, I think, to laminate like cardstock, and then we could use like a Sharpie or something on it.
But then couldn't they wipe their name off?
I mean, war is war.
Not with a Sharpie.
You just start erasing everyone's name ahead of you.
Clipboards you can get clipboards for $2 each.
And we need 65 of them.
Was everyone doing the silent auction?
Well, we don't know. How many do we have?
Everyone. In the acceptance letter, I asked them to indicate if they were doing it, and I told them that we changed the formatting. Or the format. Let me tell you how many have said they are doing it so far. And they don't need to let us know what they're bringing to the silent auction, do they?
Are we gonna do it online again this time, or is it just gonna be in person? Then I
I mean,
don't think
it's just
so.
in
I mean, I guess it would be kind of nice if we're gonna have to like type anything up for the auction sheet to know what it is, but or at least who it is, the booth space, but I don't know.
So
Jolene,
far,
Um,
five have said they're donating.
Cool.
5?
Yes.
I'm good with just having a directory of pieces if the people get their pictures in beforehand. And then for
Okay.
the rest, it's just, so instead of, there wouldn't be any bidding, and then if anything, and we're not keeping anything at the end of the day, so there wouldn't really be a need to keep the auction open any longer. If we want to
No.
do anything like announcing winners or something like that, I don't know. But we can use the website for informational purposes. So I would encourage people to send in pictures if they can.
And
Okay,
it
so-
will, I think it will be just day of.
So what if somebody comes to the art walk from 10 to noon and they bid on something and then they leave town or have something else to go to and they're not there at 5 when they find out they won? How do they get their art?
Well, we're gonna have to probably, there will be a few people, so they're gonna have to include their contact information. And then if they're not there, I guess we'll just take it to City Hall and then we'll have to contact them after the fact.
Okay.
I'm hoping there shouldn't be too many of those, but I don't know. And we'll have to like just, I guess, plan for that and take them somewhere at the end of the day.
I mean, that's kind of what we did last year. Is just,
Yeah.
you know, Abby, you had to have them at City Hall for a
Yeah.
bit there. The other thought is, you know, if people don't fill out their contact
stuff.
information and they win, well, then we got to kind of go down to the next one that we can
Yeah.
contact, I guess.
Yeah, if they don't have contact information on there, then that's what we'll have to do.
So I think we'll just have to be really careful with instructions.
Yeah, so if they can send a picture, Abby, then that would be the best if they want their piece to be highlighted on the website beforehand.
Okay.
Okay. And then one more thing about Art Walk, another expense we have this year is one of our bands has offered to run the sound for the day for $200, which is incredibly cheap. And so we have graciously accepted that offer. So that's why we may be able to add another musician in because the transition time between bands will be shorter. He also said that he would play music in between the band setup. And if we have announcements to make in between the bands, we can also get up on stage and make announcements as well. So if we want to say, hey, the silent auction is going to be ending at blah, blah time, everybody get out there and bid, then we can do that. We can thank our sponsors, whatever we choose to do. So that was maybe the last thing about Art Walk I have to say. I'll just cut it off there. Anybody else? Questions? All right. Well, then let's move on to the youth scholarship program. We did vote to provide 2 $1,000 art scholarships to high school students at Middleton. And what day is the presentation, Abby? Do you know?
I thought we were gonna vote on that tonight.
Oh, I thought we voted on it already.
Probably last
We
year.
voted on it a couple months ago.
No, I don't think so. I think I received this after our last meeting. It was the initial email telling us about the scholarship program, and they gave us until February 28th to indicate if we're participating.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. We need to talk about that tonight and decide if we want to do it then. Jolene,
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I think we did bring it up when we were talking about budget, but I don't know if
I
we
think so too. I
formally
thought we
voted on the
approved it
amount.
then, but maybe
Yeah.
not.
But anywho,
Okay, so let's talk about that because we did talk about wanting to do it again. So is everyone okay with continuing that? And do you have questions or comments that you'd like to bring up?
I just have one comment that is really interesting, I think, that when I joined the committee like 8 years ago, They never spent their money. Remember that when I came on? They got this $5,000 budget every year. They never spent on anything. It just sat there. I was just like crazy. Now we have like all these things that we're doing.
Yeah.
I think the scholarship's great. I'm totally for it.
All right.
Observation.
Isn't it just weird though that they were just like they just sit around and talk
Yeah,
about
but
the
I
same
guess I
thing?
feel like it's not theirs to do anything with or something. I get that.
They
but-
just had nothing going on when I first
But I'm really
joined.
glad you said that out loud because that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing it.
It's going
I
to
guess.
a very good cause
Do something with,
and it follows our objectives and goals.
Yes, it
So-
does.
I'm gonna say something that it might be a little controversial. With great strife comes great art. We need to keep feeding it.
Yes, it's very important, I feel like, to maintain
I don't know.
connections to art with
Okay,
students
okay.
and people.
Nobody will.
Oh, okay. Are you against the scholarship? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh,
Very pro scholarship.
okay.
Pro.
Okay, so I need to get a motion.
Okay. You don't have to say anything.
We need a
anymore.
motion.
Yes. We need more art in our lives. I get it. And more rainbows.
Are you here for Conservancy Lands?
Oh, sorry,
Commission?
yeah,
They're meeting in the council chambers,
okay.
so, yep.
Michelle,
This is the arts
before we
committee.
move,
Yeah, I need somebody to make a motion because
before we move, should we also discuss an amount or do we want two separate motions?
do we need to make it two separate motions? Because we had agreed on $1,000 each
Okay.
again at our budget, when we discussed the budget. So what I would need is a motion outlining how you want to do that.
Okay. How many
can
scholarships
make-
did we, just to remind me?
We usually do two
Okay.
$1,000 scholarships.
Well, I move to present or to offer scholarships to Middleton High School this year. Two of them in the amount of $1,000 each. And it's Olson here.
I'll second.
Is that Meg?
Mhm.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries.
The scholarship presentation night will be on Wednesday, May 14th at 7 PM. Will we be sending somebody to present in person?
It cannot be me because I felt like I was gonna pass out on the stage last year. So if someone else would like to present, I would be happy to.
Beth lives like
I live
super close.
Behind the high school, so I can totally do it.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Minute walk.
I have.
So that's Wednesday, May 14th at 7 PM.
Wednesday, May 14th. Can do.
Do we give them paper or like how does it work?
The giant check.
I think last year Michelle just took a greeting card, like a really nice little, and didn't you sign everybody's name for them, or did you actually bring it here and we all signed it?
No, I just signed it Middleton Arts Committee, but we can all sign it if you like. I just bought graduation cards for each of them and then we slid the check into the graduation cards.
Okay, and did they give you the check once you got there? Cause we prepay the check. And so we pay the check to the Middleton education
Oh.
fund. And then did they cut a separate check to the individuals once they awarded them, or did?
No, you're right. I didn't put a check in there. I just put congratulations and
Oh.
then the scholarship amount maybe. I can't remember.
Okay, and once we know, we will get information about who they get awarded to, so I'll make sure that you get that
Perfect.
before too, just so you have their names.
Perfect. I'll
Yeah,
put
we
the card
usually
together.
get copies of their application, so that.
Elizabeth Browning.
Do I what?
How do you want your name on here? I'm filling it out right
Oh,
now to tell
okay.
them who's presenting.
Either way is fine. It doesn't really matter.
Okay,
I respond to both.
okay. And then I will give them your email address too.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so as I was saying, we will also get their applications and so we'll learn about the students and, like what field they're planning on going into, what their major will be, so forth. So that will be, I can't remember, maybe in March, or April meeting, they will send those over to us. So we can see those then. And I will secure some graduation greeting cards as soon as they are available, and we can sign them all this year. We can all sign them this year. Okay. So anything else with scholarships? All right, then let's move on to our next agenda item. And that would be the Lake Street sculpture portage. I'm very excited that this got passed. I think this is going to be a great addition to our collection. So who wants to update us on portage?
I can just give you a brief update that we have not yet executed the contract. Reason is because when we were in the field with our parks director, Meg and Sebastian, there was a mention during that meeting that the city might be able to pour the footings for the sculpture. And that was not the Arts Committee's original intent. The Arts Committee's original intent was that the budget amount would cover the full cost of everything, including the footings. And so right now our Parks Director, Kylie, is working on getting a cost estimate for the footings from her Parks crew foreman, Kurt, who is also going out to pour footings at the same park for a railing. And so we're just trying to figure out the cost for materials. I don't think it's going to be very much. It's two, they call them sono tubes, where it's like the footing that they dig a hole and then they sink the concrete down into the hole. And I think it's 2 to 3, let's see. It's 2 feet in diameter and 5 feet in depth. And so once I get the cost estimate from him, we're just gonna make sure that we have enough money to cover the cost. We don't have to cover any labor, so I really don't think it's gonna be a huge issue, but I'm just reluctant to execute the contract until I make sure that we can fully fund everything. The artist is getting nervous because of the tariffs and the potential for the steel pricing to increase, so it's top on the list. I'm working on it and hopefully we'll be ready to get that executed soon. And then the other item is the Lake Street Park opening event. And our Parks Director is getting ready to go on FMLA for 3 months. And she had some ideas for how we could have an opening event for the park, but it would also, a big component of that, of course, would also be the artwork. And she was interested in doing that in early June. And she gave me a list of people to invite in case we wanted to kind of like get the date set and send out the invitations while she's on leave to give people notice. I think it primarily would be like a press event where Brent, our comps person, would invite members of the media and we would have some speakers, maybe the mayor, the parks chair, and the arts chair could speak. And then we would do some photos and it would probably, the whole thing might be like 15 or 20 minutes total. We would also want to invite the artists to that event. And I was talking with Michelle about it, I think last week or maybe the week before. And Michelle suggested that we might want to piggyback on the pie and ice cream social that the Historical Society has, because that's nearby at Lakeview Park. So it would kind of give people something to go to, since our opening event is going to be relatively short. They could leave and then go over to Lakeview Park for the pie and ice cream social. I talked with Ruth Bachmeyer at the Historical Society, and their event is on June 11th. So is that right? Is that what I sent in my email?
Yeah, I think so. It's a
think so. That's a
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. So I had kind of thought that their event would be on June 4th because it's usually on the first Wednesday, but they went to book Lakeview Park and it had already been booked. So they had to move theirs back a week, and I'm not as keen on that idea now that they moved it because that's the day after school gets out for MCPSD. So I was like, people are so busy, like right after school gets out, that I wasn't sure, like I always leave for my annual vacation that day, so I'm not gonna be here. And I just wasn't sure if it would get as much, I don't know.
Traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would.
I agree with you.
When you said June 11th, I was kind of like, ugh, that's not a good day.
yeah. It's just
A
always
lot of people leave for vacation then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe earlier. Did you want to do it on a weekend though? Or
I think if we have it on a weekend, we might be less likely to get members of the news media there.
What about
So
like a Friday afternoon? Is that too weird?
like Friday the 6th,
Yeah.
just check. Make sure nothing else is going on that day. I think a Friday afternoon would actually work pretty well. Any concerns with Friday, June 6th? I mean, we could maybe do it at like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., something like that. Is that what you're thinking?
reasonable.
4 sounds good.
4.
Works for me.
Let's make sure that we put out a notice informing people that we may have a quorum.
Okay. And I'll just run that by Kylie. She's done a lot of work on the park project, so I want to make sure that that date's cool with her. And then, will you be around at that time, Michelle?
June 6th. As far as I know, I'm going to Florida. Let me look and see. I think I'm coming back on the 4th. Let me look.
Okay. And then I'll also check with,
Yes, I will be here. I'm coming back on the 3rd.
okay. And I'll check with the artist team. But let's just kind of pencil that in for the opening.
Okay. There's one other thing that I wanted to bring up as well. Since we're talking about this project and 0.5% for art, since Meg is leaving, she is on that working group. And so I brought this up, kind of touched on it earlier, that we're gonna need to replace Meg on that working group for 0.5% for art. And then again, we need to start thinking about a location because we struggled with location this time and it did kind of stall things out a bit. And so we need to like kind of start thinking about where we might put the next piece that we do and whether or not we want to, you know, collect up a couple years worth of TIF money, or if we wanna, you know, do a smaller project. And so Sebastian, since you are on that committee as well, those are some things that you can mull over.
Oh, totally. I did like our idea we had of doing a project at the pool, that we did with our amazing parks director. That I really like that idea. I thought that was a very good spot. It's very public facing. It's a very it's a great community gathering place, and I think would be a good fit as well. I think that the walls you can see are a little faded and have that kind of like old outdoor stucco stain on it. But that's what comes to mind first. Of course, I can like look around as well and see what might be a good spot as well. But I know that was kind of our also in the running when we were talking through what would be a good site. But you know, of course, it's very open
Have to
to.
burst the bubble.
Yeah.
We
What-
can't do the pool, Sebastian, remember?
The pool is a municipal building and you can't use TIF money for
Okay.
municipal building. But I should have mentioned this to you guys previously. I don't know if it's interior space or exterior space, but the parks department found money in their budget and they've hired Natalie Hanahara, who is a muralist, to do a project at the pool. I just don't know if it's inside or outside.
Cool.
So they are planning to do a project.
Oh my gosh, you remember that one tile artist that applied for this Lake Street one? Did, like the
Yes,
little mosaics, that would be so cool.
that would be really cool.
Have the money for it. Should send that one along.
Yeah,
That'd be like perfect location for that.
yeah,
Well,
I think
and
they've already started working with Natalie and she's a painter. She did the mural that's on the side of Pasture and Plenty, on the near west side of Madison. And then she also did a mural inside Marigold Cafe, if you ever go there for breakfast off the square. She used to, I'm trying to think, she may have been on this committee. She was on the sustainability committee when she was in high school. She went to Middleton High School.
Can you help me understand if the Parks Department hired a muralist, they could do it on the building, but our department, our committee can't?
Yes, because their funding source was separate. So we could do a mural there. We just can't use the TIF funded money.
Oh,
for
the
it.
percent for it.
Because the
Got it.
TIF, yeah, the TIF money, you can't spend TIF on city buildings. So like
Does that
with
rule
our,
out-
That makes sense. Okay.
does
Gotcha.
we
that
have
rule
enough-
out the water tower as well?
The water tower? Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know.
remember we
There-
talked about the water tower in Pheasant Branch, would that rule that out as well?
that's a good question. Like, so I would think of that more as public infrastructure rather than a recreational building, which is a specific carve out in the statutes. We learned about that when we were doing the Stone Horse Green project. I can run that up and see if the water tower if it could be.
I love
I'm trying to think of
Sebastian.
that. It's not covered by TIF District 5 though, so I guess
Not,
no.
Jolene has their hand up.
Jolene?
Sorry, muted. In terms of like another location, I don't remember if, I think I'd suggested before maybe, but like the new section of Bellefontaine where the Bell Farms development is going, I believe it's along Parmenter, right by the Beltline there.
Is that TIF 5?
Yes, that
I
is.
think it is. And so I don't know, and just, with Parmenter being the corridor and we've got the mural, close to the, by the park and ride, if there's anything we wanted to put along there, it might be visible. Is it visible from the Beltline right there? I can't remember. But anyway, there's gonna be like that development. There's going to be the one that is on the other end of Graber Pond, right on the backside of the subdivision I'm currently in. And so there's just, there's gonna be retail and things in there as well in the new Bell Farms development. So that might be a good candidate, especially while they're still building and planning it for a public art piece.
Sure.
What about that building, that tall building, that grain is it the grain elevator that we talked about? Is that in TIF 5?
It's really close, but it's
It's
not.
privately owned,
Yeah.
right?
It is, it's privately owned.
Yeah, that might be tricky. We were talking about doing something near the Pheasant
Roman
Branch
Candle
trailhead.
is too, or was.
We had to
when-
get like DOT, whatever happened with that, Abby?
I still think it would be.
The DOT, we had to like get permission or something from them.
For Parmenter Street,
Yeah, by the roundabout.
yeah, we had to get permission from every department and we sent it off and like never, I don't think we got permission from any departments. We might, actually, I might have gotten it from one.
Okay.
And it like came randomly and I was like, oh my gosh, like
Like, I
this is
forgot
like
about
out of the
this.
blue. I
Yeah.
almost forgot about it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna cut this off, so cause you guys should be talking about location amongst yourselves in your working group. So I'm gonna, if you have ideas, send them to Sebastian.
Real quick though, just so everybody's on the same page, the TIF money, so for the Lake Street Portage sculpture, we used the allocation from 2024 and 2025. So we would get another 30,000-ish in 2026.
Yes, but remember how long it took us to settle on a location for this
Oh,
one?
I know, it took a long time.
That's why I bring it up now, just so that we're prepared for next time.
I do have a quick question before you move on. Like if we did, for instance, it's just an example, if we did more bus shelters that were all in TID 5, could that be like considered eligible? Or no, because we've already done bus shelters?
Well, I think we already used TIF money, so when we got the bus shelter project approved, I can't remember if it was TIF 3 or TIF 5. And it was a split between TIF money and capital budget, and 10,000 came from a TID and the other 10,000 came from a capital budget. And if it was, we kind of like picked the locations and then we figured like, oh, we got lucky because half of these are in that TIF district. But I think you might be hard pressed to find enough that aren't already,
I'll cross that one off.
yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather ask for capital budget funds for that anyway, and if we can, because we often don't ask for any capital budget funds, and that is additional funding that I feel like we are kind of missing out on if we don't pursue it.
To do more bus shelters, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, we can move on. Sorry, thank you for.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so again, if you have ideas, send them to Sebastian. He will be the collector of ideas. Okay.
You can put my email in the chat too, just in case anyone doesn't have. It's on the city's site though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the website. Okay, so next it is, let's see, where are we at? Pop-up art.
So for pop-up arts, we have several events planned for the year. On Saturday, May 17th, of course, we'll be at Kids Corner. Beth and I have a great idea to do some origami frogs, since we have the postcards have frogs on them. And Michelle pointed out we probably need to add something for younger ages as well, so that we have like a couple different things for different skill sets. But the origami frog, Beth has an idea, great. Beth and I will talk about that. Then we were thinking of making these giant lily pads that the kids could just play along and hop their little frogs along, just like a little area off to the side, you know.
That is adorable.
That'd be fun. Okay, so then Thursday, June 12th, this is a maybe, but the library is doing their summer reading kickoff program sometime in the late afternoon. And so they're talking amongst themselves first to see if it's a, you know, like if it's a fit for us to come partner with them. But if so, we might plan a pop-up for that. And then just a few days later, we're actually going to do a pop-up with Parks and Rec at the pool. You know, they have these summer camps where kids come from different community groups, and Kids Junction's going to be there on June 18th. It's a Monday from 1 to 3:30, and Beth is going to run it.
Aww.
That will be nice. We're going to do some sort of water theme. And the question is, do you guys have any advice? We need to give them 2 sentences for the Parks and Rec booklet about like what it is. I mean, we can decide this, but if anybody has any input, or you could just send it to us, or think about it. But basically, it's just Middleton Arts Committee. We'll be bringing in water theme project, but we'll come up with it, and you know.
Would they consider an exchange?
What do you mean?
Listing like, because they have advertising in their rec guide, and it would be really cool if, in addition to having the couple sentences on that, they would give us like a little space to list all the pop-up events and have the arts committee's logo.
That's a great idea. Okay, I could ask for sure. That's a great idea.
Especially like, do you know what their deadline is?
Well, they're in the mode where they have their first draft done. So
Okay.
as soon as possible, need to get them
Okay.
my 2 sentences for us, and
Okay.
then
It might
You've
be
got
hard
most of
then.
your dates already
Yeah.
nailed down though.
I've
Okay.
got a lot of dates
Okay.
in. So,
Okay. Cool.
but that's a good idea. Okay, so that would be June 18th at the pool, and then Monday, June 20th. We have a lot in June, by the way. Monday, June 23rd from 1 to 2:30. There's a library in the park at Lakeview Park. And Beth is running that one too. So,
Nice.
so,
June.
yeah, so it's, and then July, I wanted to do something at Stonehorse Green. I don't know what the dates are yet, so I haven't set that date yet. But once we have an
So, we have a whole calendar of events for Stonehorse Green, but we're not publishing anything right now because we're in a hiring process right now for a placemaking planner who will be running all of the events.
Okay.
And so I'd rather get that person on board and make sure that they're okay with the schedule that they're gonna be running before
Okay.
publishing anything. Thursday nights in the summer are our typical like music or trivia
Okay.
nights. Wednesday nights, the rec department is gonna be having a cornhole league
Fun.
for adults, actually. But if they were to have kids that came by, that could be maybe a fun.
Drew would love that. He's so good at cornhole. I have to tell him. Is it like who you sign up in the Parks and Rec guide?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
I think we should just plan on doing
Does
one of
sound
the
fun.
Thursday nights, because I know that one usually has kids just running amok.
Yes,
I think
yeah,
it's a
the
good idea.
Thursdays.
The music.
Oh, we're not
There,
gonna
there
do-
is one thing that is firmed up, but it's a Monday night. Let me pull up my spreadsheet here. There's an army band. The 132D Army Band is bringing a brass band on June 23rd. Did you say June 23rd for something else?
We're already doing the library in
gonna
the
do the
park,
library
1
in
to
the park.
2:30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I've got nothing in July, so
Okay. So you need a July.
a
Okay.
July event. Yeah, and then
There's a summer stroll that the DMBA is having from July 17th through the 19th. July summer stroll.
that's the business
Yes.
group where they do the shop and stroll and yoga
Yeah.
outside and
Do
stuff.
you know what the summer one is? Because they have the sip and stroll, which is the wine walk. They have a spooky stroll in the fall, but what's the summer stroll?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't.
I know we did like yoga out in the Stonehorse Green area. They had like options that morning while
Yeah.
the shops were open, stuff like
Okay.
that. So
So maybe it's the same as the shop and stroll. Maybe the shop and stroll is now called the summer stroll.
okay,
I'm not sure.
so that yeah, we could maybe do something there.
Do you remember when we had those beach parties and they put like the sand in there?
Yes.
We need to bring that back.
That was Maryland when Maryland
Yeah.
was organizing everything in the downtown.
Oh my gosh.
And then my last 2 dates are Friday, October 10th, 6 to 8. We're doing the Hunting for Pumpkins at Lakeview Park Shelter with Parks and Rec. And Friday, December 12th, 6 to 8, pop-up art for the candy cane hunt. So those are set already. So basically it's just kind of what are we gonna do July, August, September? It's kind of, we got a lot going on in June, like I said, so maybe we could also take July off and do August, so.
Are you still doing things that coincide with days kids have off at school?
Not really. We were struggling with booking like at Lakeview. They're so popular, it's hard to book.
Okay,
Not
I was
really.
just checking because I know that's how we started out there and at Stonehorse Green with doing this. So I was just checking on that. So, all right. Well, do you want to then go ahead and send the dates that you need volunteers and your sign up genius out to everyone?
Can do. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have anything to add, Beth? Or pop-up art?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. She and I have been talking about some of the projects, so we'll keep you posted once we have more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Alright.
would just say, like, don't feel like you have to do everything.
Oh,
Because you are
let's forget.
volunteers.
Yes, Meg, we
Go
know.
to-
We don't have to do everything. We got it.
Did you think?
I don't want her to feel overwhelmed and then drop off the committee. So,
Did you hear that Beth has a helper at home? I got a couple
I was gonna
teenagers.
say, Honestly, that's why we're doing a lot in the summer because I need stuff to do with my kiddo in the summer, so.
Perfect.
That's it.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for heading that up. And let us know where you need volunteers. All right, so then we're going on next to Youth Center. Our next two classes are clay artist, and that will be for March and April. And I don't have anyone for May. I have really struggled this year to fill these spaces for some reason. I'm not sure why. So if anybody has an artist that wants to do a student art project at the middle school, it's 1 hour the first Thursday of the month. If you are on the committee, we cannot get paid for that. But if it is someone off the committee, it's $150 for the class and then their supplies. So that's what's going on with that. And last month was potato printing with Alex Hunty and one of the directors at Inspiring Hope. And I don't know how that went. They were printing on cardstock. I haven't talked to in either of them, so I don't know if, but I'm assuming it went okay. So that's all I have for that.
Julia has her hand raised.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hi, I was wondering, does the artist have to be an adult or could it be a younger person?
No, it has to be an adult.
Okay. All right. My cousin does crochet and she goes to the middle school, but if she can't participate, I thought hiring
Yeah,
her
I
would be
think we
kind of cool.
have to have adult instructors.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for suggesting that. Okay, anyone else? Questions or anything to add about youth center? All right, well, let's move on to number 7, special events. Jolene, what do you got? Anything?
Hey, I don't really have much. So I guess essentially if anyone wants to take it on, um, let me know and I'll hand off. But I think that it could become more like a special events collaboration, like a sponsored by and or I can't remember Meg what you said, but like basically if community people want to come to us and ask for something, ask for support, then it could just be a person that's doing the liaison, I guess is how I could see it in the future. But again, yeah, nothing. So if anyone wants to take it up, great. And if not,
All
Can
right,
I ask, sorry, can I just ask like what kinds of, just give us ideas again, what kinds of things you've done, choirs, you've had like people come sing, just so I have an
I
idea.
did, yeah, there was the open mic nights and the carolers, and I don't think I really did that much stuff. I mean, Bubbles and Beats could maybe go under something like that, like if you really want to do things associated or like not associated with Art Walk. But I mean, really, it was just about using the Stonehurst green space and providing some sort of performance art opportunity, either listening or participating.
With the city's initiative to hire somebody, do you think we should take this off of our agenda
I was just gonna
and move
suggest
this
that.
on to? I mean, I feel like they're
well,
not,
Feels redundant.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
is a little, I think that the thing that makes it a little bit different is the public art spin, in terms of, well, just including performing arts somewhere in the committee. I guess that was it. So even if it's just a tag along.
I mean, we do at Art Walk though. So
we do.
I guess we kind of feel
yeah.
like that. And
I
haven't we
mean-
done some like musical youth center things?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that I think that it would be important to have somebody working on special events with the new event person from our committee. Just so that we know what they have coming up and if we do want to work with them on something. So I do think it would be some beneficial to us to have someone.
Well, isn't that what Abby does though? Because they'd be working for Abby. So
Well,
she would fill this
and
in.
the new person is highly likely to end up staffing this committee.
Yeah.
And also, it's possible that the event part of what the CDA does will end up getting moved over here to be determined and discussed with you all as a possibility. So I don't know. I mean, it could end up that there is a draft calendar of a full year of events and it ends up coming here for your approval, not for you all to run the events. That's what the placemaking planner position is for. But for you all to review it and provide input or say like, no, we don't like this idea. We want you to focus more on this and provide guidance and then end up approving the calendar.
But
That-
that's coming up down the road though. We're.
Right, that's
not
down the road.
just-
Okay.
So basically, if anyone wants to do just ideas just for this year, the rest of this year, or until your person comes in, just let me know. And I'm happy to just make ideas, and I'll be around to volunteer for stuff too, just for the rest of the year, definitely. Just,
Fabulous.
yes. I'll be the off committee volunteer. Just call me.
All right, so if anyone wants to take over if we'll put this on hold for now, we'll determine what we need in regard to a liaison for events at a future time. How's that sound, everyone?
Good.
Okay. All right, and then website and social media, we kind of discussed. Do
I
we
don't
have,
have any to add.
okay, so
I guess I would just say that again, with me leaving, I don't know if it's even allowed, but I would continue to maintain the site, the Art Walk site, and then we can just use it for linking to things if need be, from social media posts and whatnot, if you want it, and if not, no big deal.
well, I think we could take you on as a volunteer in that.
If you want, yeah.
City.
It would be, yeah, it's relatively simple, and the company, my employer is perfectly fine hosting, and just that in-kind donation type of situation. So
Thanks, Jolene.
sure, of course.
And then we'll keep sending you stuff to put on the website for our art book.
Yes, and eventually, if the product, there will be a self-service portal eventually, so it will become even easier.
Awesome. Okay, so Beth, do you have anything else you wanted to add about social media? We were talking about it earlier, but I think
Yeah, no, I've got to get the art walk stuff together super quick, and then I still want to get some of the other year stuff together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will email.
why don't you email me and then you and I can kind of talk about some of the things that we have coming up
Yeah,
that
sounds
we
good.
might put on there.
And Michelle, you wanted us to start kind of marketing the art walk as the kickoff to the summer art
Art festival season. yes.
festivals. Okay,
Yeah,
so that
And-
might,
I think that what is that one called? The studio tour?
Out in Dodgeville?
No, it's in Dane County.
I don't know.
I think it's like originated out of Mount Horeb. Anyway, that might come before us, but we're the first summer outdoor art festival that we know of the year, because we start pretty early with May, so.
there must be something else the same day as ours because one of our artists dropped out because they said that they had already committed to another art fair the same day.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think there's one. Well, it could be that studio tour is that day. Was it three?
Yeah, okay, Mount Horeb Area Arts Association Spring Art Tour is May 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Yeah, that's the studio tour. I don't really think that's gonna affect us too much, except for maybe a couple artists that live in that area won't be coming this year. Because they're pretty different. You have to drive to people's houses and studios.
Okay.
When is gallery night for the Contemporary Art Museum? Is that the week before?
I think
May?
so.
It's usually the first weekend in May, I want to say.
Is it or the second?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's not the same weekend though. And it's
Okay.
not the same weekend as UW graduation either. So, but there won't be a day that we pick where there's not
May
something.
16th,
Oh, it's the night before.
Mocha Gallery night, yeah.
Oh yeah, the artist that dropped out is part of Mount Horeb.
Okay,
Part of something related to Mount Horeb, so that makes sense.
okay, all right, yeah, okay, so we're not gonna worry about that. We're gonna assume that that's not gonna affect us too much.
Mhm.
But we should, I do want, Jolene, if you could put something like join us as we kick off the outdoor summer art festival season or something. And then we should probably be putting that in our advertising and maybe our social media posts, should express that as well.
This will be as like a tagline or a slogan.
Yeah, kind of like a tagline. I think that we'll just use it on our stuff. I should have put it on the save the date card. I wasn't thinking about it. And I'm not even sure Abby and I had talked about that yet at that point, but I think that if we could publicize that would be good.
Meg, I might reach out to you for design ideas, help if that's all right. If incorporating it in is weird, like
For the website?
yeah, just for putting it with the art walk. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll come up with something and then maybe you can just judge it. I'm just kidding.
Okay, sounds good.
That would be great. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So then let's go ahead. If nobody has anything else about that, let's go ahead and move on to our last item here. And that is the airport fence project. So,
Can I take this?
yeah.
Okay, so we had a call with a Zoom meeting with Matt Hofelt from the Capital Speed out at the airport. And his idea is a good one, but I just got the vibe from the whole working group that this just was not a go. We just have too much going on. And although I agree that the airport's a cool space and that fence is a nice space, it's just not something that we can do.
Okay. Well, then that pretty much ends the discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, they could still do the project and
Yeah.
would just like do it on their own and then take it to common council to
Yeah.
get approval,
Yeah.
right?
I think that they were thinking they were doing us a favor of getting more space for public art, which I have said to him out loud before that we just need more public art.
Mhm.
And so I think he was trying to do us a favor, but it's just too much.
Would he be
Or it's
receptive
not.
maybe to a mural on the side of his
It is
building?
in TID 5, so that could potentially be a future.
Yeah, it could eventually be a potential area for,
I think it's on to 3.
oh, it's in 3, has to be
Yeah.
in 5.
It has to be in 5.
Oh, yeah, because 3 is closing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking at the map right behind you, that's why.
It's-
It's definitely.
Oh, it's
to
3, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they don't have funding for this, but when he brought up the project, I was thinking like, it would be so cool if we could have like an actual art fence like they have at the Union, that fence that's like all cut out and like the pet, like.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that's probably ridiculously expensive, but like future goals,
Yeah.
which would be awesome, but yeah, we don't have money for that.
Instead of the fence, would Matt be receptive to doing a mural on his building?
Do we have money for that too?
No, I was just curious. I mean, we
Oh.
don't have any money, but I was, I was just
I
curious.
know, I'm like, yes. Okay.
Okay, so I guess
Yes,
then, I don't need a motion to adjourn anymore, so I guess then we shall just say good night and thank you all for coming and thank you for all your hard work and thank you to our exiting members for all of their hard work and dedication.
Ugh, what are we gonna do without you guys?
You still get to
Yeah.
come to a couple more meetings, so.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I told Michelle this earlier that I'm not like gonna leave you guys high and dry for art walk and stuff. I'll still do everything. I'll be at the dedication for Portage. I'm gonna see the projects through. I'm working a lot more hours than I was originally anticipating I'd be working when I started working again. And I have like no time. Yeah. It's like, how do people get stuff done? I don't know.
So that is a wrap.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
And as maybe I'll see you at Village Meeting for the Pride meeting next in
Is that
10
tonight?
minutes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Are you up for a re-election, Katie?
Yep.
Oh,
I am.
well, good luck to you.
Thank you. I hope I can do it. There's no one running against me.
You have a pride shirt on? Is that what's under there?
No, this is, these guys are weird. No, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Champagne.
All right.
Oh my gosh, you have like the best stuff. You just get it on the eve.
Good
like,
night,
every week,
everyone.
or-
Good
Oh my
night.
gosh.
Everybody.
Cheers.